Namaskar, everyone. My name is Ekta. I'll be sharing a little bit about myself with you all today. And before I start doing that, I would like to thank the team NEA Techs, which has given me this opportunity to interact with you. They've given me this platform. They have recognized my work and they have seen some potential in it, and that's why I am here sharing my thoughts with you today. So I'll start by telling you about the profession that I've been in. I have been in the real estate development sector for most part of my career, where I have been designing buildings, which have been mostly residences, and it's been a very, very gratifying experience because seeing designing something on paper and then seeing it rise up like a concrete building where people actually stay in that house is an extremely gratifying happening, and I've seen that happen several times. So it's been a very, very beautiful journey for me. Uh, Prior to that, I started teaching young children how to communicate, how to read, write, speak well in English. I saw a gap that there was in the schooling style, where children who had the innate capability of writing well were able to do so, but the others really severely lacked. So, this is a skill which needs to be taught to children, and every child, even an average child, can write very well if they're taught how to. So, that's the gap I'm trying to bridge working with these young minds. Uh, and along with all this, I have been writing. I have been writing for myself for many years, and I have started writing. I've had the courage to share my work with the whole world for the past 5 years. I have put out two novels, and I will be talking about them shortly. Um, Before I start talking about something else, what comes to my mind is the situation that we find ourselves in currently. The COVID pandemic has had a lot of damage to the society. I don't think I need to talk about the do's and don'ts. Everybody knows those. The only thing that I want to point out here is that we need to become responsible for ourselves first, and that's the only way that we can become responsible about the others who are around us. Plus, we need to just sit back and reminisce about the rut race that we've been in, whether it's really worth it. And we need to be a society which is a little more uh, solution oriented than problem oriented. So we need to work on those some aspects. And besides that, the industry has faced a lot of industries are performing dismally, but there are industries which are thriving, and I would say that education, which I consider as my industry currently, is also doing pretty well because we have been able to innovate and we have been able to adapt to how to teach. Except that, where there's the rural background which comes into play, and where there is the weaker section, the economically weaker section which comes into play, which has not been able to cope up with the stress of receiving education online. Other than that, we have been able to perform pretty well. And I hope in times to come, we will be able to address this issue also to some extent. My literary career has been extremely rewarding. For one, I'm not the kind of a person who goes out to a party and captures the stage and really talks and expresses. So my medium of expression is the paper and the pen, and that is where I find myself becoming a channel where I feel thoughts flowing into me, and then I keep writing, and then I put that out for the world to share with the world. So, that I think is my way of connecting and contributing to the society that I'm living in. So, my literary career has been extremely, extremely rewarding because it helps me connect, it helps me uh, share, and it helps me contribute. My uh, recent work, which is this book, Kaivalya. This is my current publication. And this book talks about reincarnations. It's a fiction, and it has been written in the backdrop of the last 300 years of India. And it reflects a lot on the society, on the kind of society we have been building and we have been living in. It talks about the British Empire, it talks about the zamindari system, it talks about the caste system. It has a lot of history, and it also has a lot of travel in it because the protagonist is traveling through the wilderness and through the deserts of India where she is getting bombarded with her past lives. And this is where she understands that whatever it is that she has sown is what she is receiving in the platter of life today, and there is no running away from it. And that she needs to balance that energy with another energy which is equal and opposite. So, and that is the only way of getting out of this rut. Plus, it also tells you that you need to take responsibility for your own actions. You can't really go around blaming others for what you're facing. The consequences, the circumstances which are given to you in this life are of your very own making. This is my second publication. The first publication was Let Go of Me, which was again a spiritual quest, but that was in the current times where it is a love story which gets grounded in spirituality again. This was a book where which I wrote when I was at that point in time where I was trying to discover myself. It was my own spiritual quest also at that time, which was going on within me, where you have the best of everything, where you have, circumstances which are just perfect, which are just brilliant, and still you are looking for something more. And what is that something more? And where will that something more come from? The world does not have anything else to offer to you. So, what is it that you're looking for? So, that is what propelled me to write that book. And currently, I'm dealing with a very, very interesting subject, and that book is about death, which is quite a taboo subject, in our society. We don't really talk about it very comfortably. This is a very unique perspective on death because it talks about death from across the table. And then it also has an element which I have always found very, very intriguing, which is the, the intersection of spirituality with the Vedas, what the Vedas and the scriptures have been saying for many, many millennia, excuse me, is what science is discovering today. And that is the blend that I'm trying to bring out in this book. And that is, and there is an element of spirituality, there's an element of science fiction, there's an element of quantum physics in this book. So all in all, it's an interesting, different and unique kind of a read. And one more little snippet that I will give you is that I'm also working on a children's book, which will also be a very, very unique one. With that, I take leave. Thank you so much for giving me this platform, and thank you so much for letting me share myself with you all.